You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help. Just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Start it off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Schaap. You may know me from ESPN's Outside the Lines and Sports Center. What you probably don't know is that I've suffered from Crohn's disease for almost 20 years. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America's Take Steps, Be Heard walk program is the largest national walk program dedicated to raising funds and awareness to combat Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. To learn more about how you can help and to find a walk site near you, please visit www.cctakesteps.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. It's Rod Eccles.
Good Wednesday, hump day morning to you, one and all. Yes, indeed, it is I, your lovable host, Rod, as I come to you live this morning. Here it is, Wednesday, May number 24 in the year of our Lord 2017. It is kind of cloudy out there this morning. It's supposed to have some sunshine a little bit later. I think it's going to rise in temperature over. Yesterday was pretty comfortable. Not going to complain about yesterday. Yesterday was pretty comfortable. Today is well, there are a number of things, and we're going to get into this morning. And it, of course, it has all to do with the terror attack in Manchester, England a few days ago. And by the way, the call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. Again, that's 603-835-3226. Folks, you have to forgive me. Not because I'm emotional, as in teary emotional, but because underneath this calm facade, I am seething. I am raging. Now, I have been following the coverage, and I did something I don't normally do last night. I didn't get much sleep, because I've been tracking this and following this and listening to the pundits and the politicos and the leftists and the idiots. I've been listening to them bloviate over this incident. I've been listening to them interview people, leftists, that were quote unquote touched by this. And it's just infuriated me. Now, I don't know what's beyond nuclear, but if this program was on last night, it would have been 3 hours of just one solid nuclear rant. And I've had time to get some sleep and to let the anger dissipate somewhat. But I got to tell you, as I was following all the stuff last night and then early this morning, I was doing more of my show prep and research and just coming across more of this stuff. And I am amazed at the sheer, not stupidity, just the sheer hypocrisy of what we have going on. Now we got more than just the Manchester terror attack to cover this morning, so we will. I will do my best to try to get everything squeezed in the next 3 hours. Don't forget that at the top of the next hour, we still have our intel report, and we got some very interesting stuff to reveal during the intel report from Agent 0010. And I'm right now, folks, it is just, well, and we've got this issue with Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity. We've got Fox News going down the tubes. These people have, now this is the reason why I am not nuclear right now, because I realized something this morning, and I've known this for quite some time now, but it really comes to light in episodes of this nature with the Manchester terrorist bombing, the Sean Hannity upheaval, is that these people are deranged. They're completely and utterly, if you're a liberal, I'm calling you out. You are deranged. I have never, ever seen such hypocrisy in my entire life. I mean, it is beyond the pale. It is beyond amazing. It is beyond, literally, it is beyond belief. Now, look, it goes beyond the platform of liberalist and snowflakes not wanting to call a spade a spade. In other words, a terrorist. They also purposefully obfuscate the fact. I mean, I just saw something this morning where there was a report of a Sikh taxi driver doing what he could and offering the services that he could by giving free taxi rides to people that were affected by the Ariana Grande bombing. And you had one liberal outpost trying to subdue the backlash and rage that is no doubt coming by calling this Sikh driver a Muslim. Now, understand. Now, first of all, that is a massive, massive insult to Sikhs. Now understand that it's not the first time that Sikhs have been mislabeled as Muslim. Trust me, Sikhs have nothing to do with Islam. Nothing. For the most part, Sikhs are pretty peaceful. They are. They don't go around bombing and terrorizing anybody. They're very peaceful and benign people. However, the last thing you want to do is really tick them off, because Sikh warriors have been known to be very, very, shall I say, brutal in battle. They're not weak. Don't take a Sikh's meekness for weakness. They're not weak. But that's the same for people who really do pursue a religion of peace, such as Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism. These are people that tend to be very meek, but don't ever confuse meekness with weakness, because they will be fierce. But they purposefully mislabeled this Sikh taxi driver in Manchester, England, as being a Muslim in order to justify their support for Muslims and Islam. I mean, look, let me just be very clear about this. We have now just seen a turn in the war on terror. ISIS has just turned a corner. People, you leftists have to understand something. They are now directly targeting our children. Do you understand that? Everybody in the world knows who Ariana Grande's main fan base is. They know how old they are. They're children. Mostly girls under the age of 21. This is like she's the current Britney Spears. But granted, she's Britney Spears in the beginning was pretty benign and wholesome too. I don't know where Ariana Grande takes her career after this, but hopefully she doesn't follow in the footsteps of Britney Spears. But her fan base are teeny boppers, teenagers, preteens, college girls that want to stay in high school. And it's also young boys at a much, smaller scale than the girls, but still you got teenage boys that think that she's a pretty girl. I mean, they think she's gorgeous. You know who is at this concert. And these are people that do not pay attention at all to their surroundings. No, they don't pay attention to their surroundings. They have no clue about what's going on around them. Teenagers, and they're all wrapped up in themselves. It's them and their friends and having a great night and everything is wonderful in the world. They do not pay attention to their surroundings. You cannot get a softer target than a bunch of teenage or preteen girls after a concert with one of their idols, such as Ariana Grande. Now, understand, Ariana Grande, by the way, is a liberal nut job herself. I have seen some videos of her, disparaging America and putting down America and hating on Donald Trump and trying to get people to understand that Muslims are peaceful. And they just literally blew her world apart. They attacked her fans. One of the softest possible targets on the planet. A bunch of girls coming out of, all excited, like they're on a sugar high from seeing one of their favorite musical performers on a rather clear and comfortable night. They're now targeting our children. And you leftist politicos want to sit back and debate whether or not this is terror. You news anchors and people out there on the left, you want to avoid calling this terrorism for as long as you can. You print liberal medias at the HuffPo and the New York Times. You want to purposely obfuscate the fact that people who are not Muslim, but you want to call them Muslim, so you can try to puff up Muslims as not being a radical and dangerous. Let me tell you, Sikhs are not Muslims. This young man, what was he, 23, 24 years old? He is young enough to understand exactly who are Ariana Grande's fans. He knew it. He was directed to go ahead and explode himself in the vicinity of a bunch of teenage girls. This was planned, it was methodical, and the evidence is coming out is showing that he did not do this on his own because the device that he created was too sophisticated even for him to accomplish on his own. These young people were targeted. They're coming after our kids now. And you want to sit back and try to debate and talk and talk and talk. let me be clear on this. Is it going to take the death of your children or grandchildren or the injury and maiming of your children or grandchildren before you wake the hell up and understand? Now, this is Ariana Grande, by the way. This is a liberal music artist who supported Muslim immigration and refugees. They want you liberals dead, probably more than they want us conservatives. When are you going to wake up to that fact?
You're listening to me, your lovable host, L. Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
And now a message from our sponsor. Ladies, tired of drying your hair with the same old vacuum cleaner? Try Avon Shade brand new Beauty Locks portable hair dryer. It's smaller, it's faster, it's guaranteed to give you the hair you've always wanted in half the time. Beauty Locks is delicate and dainty, just like you. The dryer weighs only a pound and easily fits in your hand. Now that's beauty and convenience. With a speedy motor that will dry your hair in as little as 25 minutes, you can get gorgeous hair without falling behind schedule. Don't worry about the little ones or that pie in the oven. Thanks to an extra-long extension cord, you can move around while primping your locks. Forget those long trips to the salon and no more waiting for hours under monster machines. Avon Shade gives you an easy and speedy hairdo that will blow your man away. Get it now at your nearest Macy's.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
603-835-3226. Folks, you know, you gotta... Let me go over something with you really quick here. Now, this is during my show prep from last night and this morning. Here are some conclusions and some. It's not difficult if you're just paying attention to figure this stuff out. Now, here in the USA and in England and in France, there have been a number of terrorist attacks that have been highly I'm going to be frank, have been highly successful as far as their body count is concerned. And with that, a number of these terrorists that have taken out, that have enacted these terrorist attacks, a number of them were actually born in the country that they attacked. That is true. But they are parented by immigrants or refugees. Unvetted, by the way. Or, if they're not born here, they came here as very, very young children. Now, case in point, you had this recent attack in Manchester, England. He was born in Manchester to Libyan immigrant refugee parents. You have the Tsarnaev brothers from the Boston Marathon bombing. They came here as very young boys with their parents who were refugees from the state of Georgia, not the American state, the country of Georgia. Georgia has had a large problem with Muslims. Which, make no mistake about it, that is one reason why Putin went into Georgia all those years ago. In fact, there was somewhere about that where Putin was actually talking about his going into Georgia and why he didn't stay. He didn't annex it. The problem is that there were terrorists crossing the Russian border, the Russian-Georgian border, and causing havoc in Russia. And the Georgian government, much like our own government, wasn't doing anything about it. Now, you got to understand, Putin doesn't he's not dealing with this crap. He's not dealing with it. I mean, if they want to, kill themselves down in the Middle East, and he'll take sides in the Middle East too, and he'll help them do it. But you bring that stuff into Russia, and he's going to act. Unlike our previous regime here that did not act very often. But these people they come into our country. They either bring their very young children and raise them, or they have these children and raise them to be sensitive to radical Islam. That's what they preach. That's what they teach. Now, I don't know what it's going to take for you people to wake up on that fact. So the terrorists, whether you want to call them, native-born or homegrown, they're not. Their parents were not born here. They were raised on Islam, raised in Islam, bathed in Islam. And they were raised to be sympathetic with radical Islamic ideals and principles from ISIS and Al-Qaeda and others. Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. But it does take somebody just to turn on their logic center in their brain and just think for a minute think over their touchy-feeliness. I'm getting so sick and tired of hearing people say, well, I feel. I don't give a damn what you feel, because your feelings don't count or don't matter. Well, my feelings do. No, they don't matter. It has gotten so bad that there are even people on the right that are so damn touchy-feely. It's disgusting. I upset some woman last night on Facebook. I hurt her feelings. That's what she told me. I said, well, I'm sorry if the truth hurts. And she literally said, well, you're a jerk for telling the truth. A quote. At that point, I'm just like, wow. So now I'm a jerk for telling the truth. So you know it's true, and you're still going to be all touchy-feely? Really?
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
603-835-3226. You know, one of the people talk about, well, we're winning. I know even Trump says that we're going to win this, and a number of people have said that look in the Middle East, we're ISIS is being driven back, and now they're on the run again. They're not really on the run, but we're winning, folks. We're not winning. We're losing. And that may come as a shock to a lot of people. But let me explain why we are losing. This attack in Manchester is bringing this to light. Now, I have mentioned this numerous times on this program. Oh, but let me answer one critic out there in particular. I've had one person, say, "Well, you're a hypocrite too, Rod. You have friends who are Muslim." Actually, no, I don't. If I come across one, I tell them, "Look, you've got to publicly denounce this violence and this radical Islam. If you cannot publicly denounce it, we cannot be friends." I make it very clear. I don't have Muslim friends. Isn't that interesting? I haven't had a single peaceful Muslim person publicly denounce ISIS or Al-Qaeda or so-called radical Islam at all. Not a single one. I do not have friends that I know are Muslim. Period. But we are losing this terrorist battle. See, losing doesn't necessarily mean militarily speaking. And I have brought this up numerous times in my trip to Paris a year and a half ago. It was surreal to see not police officers. I mean, it's bad enough to see cops, patrolling. I'm not talking SWAT teams. I'm talking your regular, everyday police officer in police blues, basically, carrying an automatic weapon. Since when do police officers need to carry automatic weapons? But in Paris, it was surreal because what I saw was not police patrolling the streets of Paris, especially in certain soft target tourist areas, in gathering spots, but soldiers. And not just the French military, but also the French Foreign Legion. Yeah, I recognize a troop of Foreign Legion soldiers in Paris. France, parts of France are still under a state of emergency, and they're talking about extending it. Well, what does that do to people? Well, it restricts their movement. It restricts their freedom. Now there's a story out of The Sun in response to this devastation at an Ariana Grande concert. The headline, Fortress Britain. This bombing is triggering further security crackdowns with soldiers scrambled to patrol various soft target areas. They are joining heavily armed British police. Now, Britain is famous for having police on the beat patrolling on the street without a gun. You don't see that anymore in England. Just about every cop now packs. Now, what does that tell you? Britain is about to release nearly 4,000 soldiers upon its citizenry. Nearly 1,000 have already been deployed. 1,000 troops. Military. And there are people here that think, well, that won't happen here because of our Constitution. Let me tell you something. We've already got the military patrolling our streets. It's called militarized police departments. Over the time that Obama was president, starting with George W. Bush, police departments have gathered surplus U.S. military equipment, including heavily armored vehicles. Hell, we've got one over in Keene. Little town of Keene, New Hampshire, 24,000 people. They've got an armored troop carrier. They've got a Bearcat. Why? Well, first of all, Keene, believe it or not, was once considered a serious terrorist target because of something that they used to have called the Keene Pumpkin Festival. At the height of the terror scare in this country, every year in the fall, October, I think it's the third weekend of October, Keene put on this pumpkin festival, and it grew to such a point. Now, Keene, again, remember, Keene is only a small New Hampshire city, tucked away in the southwestern corner of the state. Really, you can't get there from here, the type of place. It's not easy to get to. There's no major highway that goes to it. I mean, you got to travel probably, in order to get to the nearest highway, it's probably a good 30 minutes away. This small community, one weekend a year, has seen its population swell from 23,000 to 80,000 because of that festival. The last time I was at the Keene Pumpkin Festival, I mean, I used to get out of town when they held that because it was just, I couldn't take it. Just too packed, too populated, it was ridiculous. I mean, it's great for business. Put Keene on the map. Guinness Book of World Records, all that kind of stuff. But the last time I was at a pumpkin festival in Keene, they had the Bearcat out there on full display. They had Keene police all over the place. They had the county sheriff's deputies all over the place. They had state police all over the place. They had, and a lot of people didn't know this, but you see, I happen to know people who are in government in Keene. I knew the city manager at the time. They had snipers. They had state police snipers. At an event where people are supposed to be happy-go-lucky. Well, let me ask you something. Is that winning to you? We have militarized police in this country. We have the military in our European allies countries patrolling the streets. Is that freedom? We have an ally. Well, he's the loose ally right now. The Philippines. This guy Duterte is seriously thinking about calling down martial law on his entire country. There goes freedom. There's no more liberty. We're being spied upon by our own government, and they're using the excuse, well, it's to help keep us safe. Safe from what? Safe from terrorists, they tell us. Both homegrown and foreign. How is that freedom? Our constitutional rights are being eroded. Now, granted, this is something that the left has wanted to do anyway, and now they're just using terrorism as a means, as an excuse to do it. But if you didn't give them an excuse, it'd be a little bit more difficult for them to do what they're doing today. We're losing. Our way of life is being altered in ways that nobody has ever dreamed of. And yet we have the wonderful liberal left, not just in this country, but all around the world. Well, all around the Western world. That want to make excuses. Morrissey, the British singer, he's from Manchester. Morrissey he ripped the British government, including the Queen, a new one. He rightfully exposed the hypocrisy of them. Most government, high-level government officials and most celebrities, all the ones that are saying, well, we got to be more open and caring and loving and blah, blah, they're never affected by this stuff because they're all protected. It's the rest of us, the masses, that are vulnerable. Now, do you think that the British government there's any movement in the British government to say, you know what, maybe we need to allow the people of Britain to arm themselves again? And we know we took their guns away, all those years ago, but maybe we should allow them to have their own private gun again. Nope. In fact, in this country, there are people that are trying all kinds of ways to Sunday to restrict and strip our rights to carry guns. They want to strip our right to protect ourselves. Because let's face it, we know there's no way in hell that the police can protect everyone at every time, everywhere. That's not what police is designed. Do people realize that the police department, I don't care what country you're in, is not designed to prevent crime? They can't do it. They're designed to, if they're in the area at the time, to interrupt a crime in progress or to investigate a crime after it's happened in order to bring the perpetrators to justice. Their main job, is not to prevent crime. They can't do it. There's not enough of them. And if any police department tells you, well, we need more police officers to patrol in order to prevent crime, that is an asinine reason. They can't do it. Oh, there's a deterrence. Yeah, there's a deterrence all of 30 seconds while that cruiser, cruises by at 30 miles per hour with their windows up. No, look, I'm not pounding on the police for that, but that's about the extent of the deterrent. How many times have you seen a cop go by and you straighten up while the cop's in the vicinity, and as soon as the cop is out of eyesight or earshot, you go back to doing what you were doing? How many times have you seen that happen? You've seen criminals on the street corner. They see the cop. No, hey, we're just, law-abiding citizens. The cop is gone. They go back to doing whatever they were doing. Drug deals, shooting craps, all that kind of stuff. They're not there to they're not a deterrent. The simple presence of them is not unless they stay there. You cannot put a bunch of cops at every place all over this country. There's not enough of them. So what do you want? Do you want the military on American streets? Well, that will be a disaster. I hate to say it this way, folks, but we're losing. We're not losing militarily, but we're losing in every other way possible. In order to keep us safe, they claim, they're trampling on basic human rights all over the Western world. Plain and simple. How is that winning? Again, I'm not taking away from the rhetoric of Donald Trump to go after these people. Do it. What we have to do, and this is very simple, and yes, we can do it. It's simple, and it's not that difficult. We just have to understand that we have to do something that some Eastern European countries already knew. You don't let these people in, and those that you have let in, if they don't toe the line and assimilate and get rid of their nasty beliefs, then you export them back from whence they came.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
We, in this country, have got to understand that we've got soft targets everywhere. Now it has come to my attention that people do not fully understand what soft targets really are. And I know the press has tried to talk about it and explain it, but they don't want to tell you completely because it's going to scare the hell out of you. Well, let me tell you what a soft target is. Let me be really clear about what a soft target is, so you fully understand. A soft target is any place that has a lot of people, where people can congregate freely. There isn't a whole hell of a lot of real security. And it's a controlled atmosphere or confined space. That would be a mall or strip plaza. Hell, on certain days, depending on what day of the week it is, it could be a freaking grocery store. It could be an event that you go to. You know, the pumpkin festival, a concert. How about a sporting event? You know, we keep building, sporting arenas that keep pouring in and housing and seating more and more people. I mean, we got some stadiums that will sit 100,000 fans. Well, that's a soft target. Office buildings? Probably some of the softest targets in the country are office buildings. How about the high-rise towers in our major cities? No, you don't have to hit them with an airplane. Soft targets. Your school. Your kid's school. Now that they're targeting kids, hey, your kid's school is a soft target. Do you think one lone resource or security officer roaming the halls of a school is going to be able to stop one or two terrorists? Now understand that cop or resource officer, if the resource officer is even armed, there are some school districts that won't allow, unless you're a badged police officer, they won't allow anybody in the school to have a gun. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Then why is he there? They're going to stop him? They come busting in the doors with with semi or automatic weapons, and they've got that wonderful bomb vest on, and all they got to do is press a button. So they're starting to develop these things where you only have to press a button. All they got to do is say a word or blink, and the thing will explode. Now, I'm not here to try to scare people. I'm just trying to tell you the damn truth. We got soft targets all over the place. As France and England well know now. And yet they can't get it through their thick heads to maybe stop importing these people who are doing the damage. We can't seem to get it through our thick heads to stop importing the people who are doing the damage. I know, look, the worst time or the softest soft target there could possibly be is if you have a major event anywhere, when that event is over. Who's paying attention? Everybody's high on what they just experienced. It can be a freaking movie theater. Everybody's coming out of the movie theater. Oh, yeah, well, we've got security in the movie theater, man. Well, how about outside the movie theater when people are starting to exit? Isn't that when this guy struck? Yes, it is. In Manchester. He waited till it was over. Come on. He shouldn't have been in Manchester because his parents shouldn't have been allowed to enter Britain. Plain and simple. Intel report coming up next after the break. We'll be back.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of French fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
Thousands of families affected by disasters, like the recent wildfires, urgently need support. You can help the American Red Cross provide warm meals, shelter, and hope to families when they need it most. Please donate today to Red Cross Disaster Relief to help people affected by disasters, big and small. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. Your support is critical. We can't do it without you.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965?
People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you could still have hepatitis C, a serious disease that's a leading cause of liver cancer. If you were born from 1945 to 65, you should get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments can cure this disease. Talk to your doctor about getting tested. A message from the CDC.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Premature birth is the #1 killer of babies. Those who survive often face birth defects and complications that affect them for life. For hundreds of thousands of families in the United States, this is the hardest thing they will ever have to face. And it's even harder on the baby. March of Dimes is providing education and support to families and funding life-saving research to give every baby a fighting chance. You can help. Do something today. Give them tomorrow at marchofdimes.org/tomorrow.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to
Bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire is Rod Eccles.
And welcome back. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, coming to you live this morning, this Wednesday morning, Hump Day. And here it is, May number 24 in the year of our Lord 2017. And we're in the second hour here, which means that in about 30 seconds we're going to bring on Agent 0010 for the Intel Report. But glad you are here. The call-in number this morning is 603-835-3226. And folks, no, this, well, I hold on now. I know some of you might be a little tired of hearing me ramble on and rant about one particular topic for an entire 3 hours. We're not going to do that, but we are going to dive deep. I'm not letting this go. I'm like Hannity when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't let go of stuff easily, because this is the kind of thing that people need to understand is happening to them. It's happening to them by people all over the Western world that we elect to be our servants. Do you folks realize that these people that we put in political office are supposed to serve us, not the other way around? And it has been the other way around for far too long. And if you don't believe me, just look at the blue bloods in the GOP and the Democrat Party. They think that we serve them. Plain and simple. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. But right now, we've got some sobering information that is coming up with the wonderful, secretive Agent 0010. Good morning, Agent. How are you?
Good morning, Rod. How are you doing?
I'm still blessed and highly favored.
Grooviness.
You are a '60s magnet. You got to love. What do you watch? What is it? What was the Myers, Mike Myers? What was his?
Austin Powers.
Yes, Austin
Powers.
Baby.
Groovy. Yeah, baby. Shagadelic, baby. Anyway, yeah.
By the way, for people who are interested, I understand that Johnny Depp's latest Pirates of the Caribbean is going to be a big flop, but that's another time. We'll save that for Friday. So what have you got for us this morning?
Oh, dude. Rod, I've got so much. I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to start with the bullets, okay? Okay.
Shoot away.
Now, you know how General Flynn is like being chastised and dragged through the muck and the mire because he failed to disclose 2 points of contact.
I wonder how many of the Democrats would be in such a position if we decided to go after them for doing the exact same thing.
Oh, but wait. We did, and we let her go. Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, failed to disclose not 1, not 2, but 1,100 foreign donations when she was Secretary of State to the Clinton Foundation. 1,100 foreign donations to the Clinton Foundation.
Now, even if I utilize liberal new math, 1,100 is still a lot more than 2.
Just a little bit. Let's put another bullet here. Now, the president is accused of leaking information to the Russians, and he's a traitor, blah, 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 blah. But yet, Brennan sat there yesterday, and he was asked, have you ever exchanged intelligence information with the Russians? His response was, yeah, all the time. I did it. I used to get information, intelligence information, that the original source was from the Russians. And when I got it, I'm like, okay, what's the stipulation? They would like a response to see how this worked out for you. And I would give them the response. I shared my intelligence with the Russians, but through the proper chain, through the proper channels. So therefore, this whole thing about President Trump lying and saying that he gave information to the Russians and blah, 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 another there that's not there. They don't have a gotcha because Brennan did it himself.
Okay, so if the president is not the CEO of the executive branch of the government, then who does he work for?
The people.
Well, yeah, I mean, they all work for the people, but right now he's the CEO.
Tell them that.
I mean, so who does he have to go to in order to get permission to do stuff?
What he does. This is from. I don't want to give away too much for him, but this is what usually happens. He turns around and he talks to advisors. What would be the repercussions? What would you advise? How do you think they would react? How would this affect our people? How would this affect our agencies? What should I not say? What should I say? So on and so forth. So he weighs all of this stuff out, and then he finally makes the final decision. Okay, I'm going to tell them, but I'm not going to tell them how we got it. I'm not going to tell them the technology that we used. I'm not going to tell them where this came from, because pretty much, like I said last week, the Russians are not stupid. They can put two and two together and come up with Israel.
So basically then, the president, because he is the president, he's the CEO of the executive branch, other than the people that elected him, he doesn't have a boss. He is the boss. So as a boss, he gets to make the final decision. He can have all his board of directors there and all his cabinet members and advisors, and they all give him all their information and advice, and then he's the one that has to make the final decision. There's nobody else, right?
Within the parameters of it being legal.
Yeah. So within the parameters of the Constitution, yes, he gets to make the final decision. So in other words,
exactly,
if he's the president can basically take a classified document and says, well, he can actually say, well, I don't think this necessarily needs to be classified anymore. He has the power to declassify it, does he not?
Yes, he does.
Then what is the argument here? How is it that the president
the
leaked
Democrats
something?
aren't doing it?
I don't get it. If the president can declassify anything that he damn well wants, even if it's not advisable, but he can still do it within the parameters of the Constitution, and as long as he's not, devastating the people of this country via treason, then he can do it. So what is the argument?
Okay. Here's the argument, okay? And I'm going to place myself in the mindset of a liberal, okay? And this is going to be very painful to me. But this is the mindset of the liberal politicians.
Hillary should be the one doing that.
There it is.
Well, Maxine Waters did say that, and that is a near damn quote, especially when it came to firing Comey. She did say that Hillary could fire Comey, but Trump couldn't. Those were her exact words, by the way, people.
Go figure. Go figure. Anyway, the next thing people are going completely knucking futz about, and I mean the liberals, when they were in the Middle East, some of the Arab leaders turned around and said, hey, we're going to donate. We want to make a donation to an organization, blah, 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 blah. So Ivanka Trump, they went along with her recommendation, and it's a charity about helping women entrepreneurs. And these filthy rich Arab leaders turned around and donated something like $100 million. Well, individuals such as CNN and all these, and MSNBC, they all went, oh my God, this is pure hypocrisy. They're donating to her charity, and they chastised Hillary when she did it. Well, first of all, thank you for admitting that, she was receiving foreign donations to her charity. Thank you for finally admitting that. And second of all, it's not Trump's charity. It's the World Bank's charity.
Yeah, it's the World Bank.
The World Bank runs that check.
And Ivanka Trump is not the Secretary of State.
No, she's not. Not to mention the fact that she has nothing to do with that charity. She just recommended that charity, and they went with it. Women entrepreneurs. That's it. That's the that is the closest thing she has to do with that charity.
You would think that the left would be all for women empowerment, right? I mean, that's what they're all. Isn't that part of what that Women's March was all about? You know, with the Madonna and a few other big stars with all their nasty poems. Isn't it all about women empowerment? And Ivanka Trump is trying to help women empowerment all over the world through the World Bank, and they go.
The entire thing that's going on now, like I told you before, I broke down all 17. A few weeks ago, I broke down all 17 intelligence agencies that the Democrats keep ranting and raving that agree that, oh yeah, the Russians hacked, and come to find out, it was really only 4. And that would be the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, and the DNI, Department of National Intelligence. Now, here's what's... Things are starting to boil over. Things are starting to be weeded out slowly, very slowly, but very surely. Things are starting to being weeded out, especially John Brennan. He sat there and goes, yeah, we got nothing on Trump colluding with the Russians. We got nothing on that.
Now, didn't I hear
Comey
Brennan
said it. Yeah,
didn't I hear Brennan say when he was testifying before one of the committees and they brought up the notion of 17. Didn't Brennan correct them, said no, it was 3, and they did not come to that conclusion?
Yeah, basically. Because don't forget one thing, the NSA, like I told you before, the NSA works directly for the president or works for the government, but they are a branch of the military. The NSA is run and directed by the military. So in order for the NSA to turn around and say the president is a liar, blah, blah, that's basically the start of a coup. Yeah. So the NSA just hands over the facts. They don't make accusations. They don't point fingers. They just say, here's what we got. End of story. Now, here's the problem we're heading into, okay? If it comes to fruition that Seth Rich was murdered by the Democrats, okay, or that the Russians did not hack the election, and it was all Seth Rich. Well, if you have Comey saying it was the Russians, you have Brennan saying it was the Russians, you have the entire CIA saying it was the Russians, you have the NSA saying it was the Russians, then come to find out the evidence surfaces that it wasn't the Russians, that it was actually a murdered DNC IT worker. Who is going to go back and pull these 3 leaders or former leaders, sit them down and ask them, well, if it was Seth Rich, what the hell do you have that makes you say it was the Russians? And if they turn around and they say, oh, Brennan said so, well, that's going to end up in a situation where then Brennan is going to come up on criminal charges. But, this is the but. What if they don't? What if they just say, well, here's what we have? And it was all concocted. Well, and then they stand by that and they say this is why I say that
this investigation, this so-called investigation, which is not really an investigation at all, into this so-called Russian hacking, is never going to end. Because if it does end, it opens up certain people in the Democrat Party, and possibly even in the blue blood realm of the Republican Party, is going to open them up. They can't afford that.
There's 3 scenarios, 3 results that I come up with so far, and there might be more. I need to think about this even more. Scenario number 1, as a result, there's going to be an increase on the attacks on President Trump by 1 or 2 of the groups and the Dems. Now, the CIA and the FBI might turn around and start creating more attacks and more false accusations towards the President of the United States, supported by the Democrats. In other words, things will get uglier. Scenario number 2. They could decide to just say, hey, we're going to step forward, and here's the truth. Here's everything we've got. No Fifth Amendment, nothing. We will speak, and we're going to just blast all parties that were involved in this ridiculous thing. We'll blast them all into the stratosphere. That's the preferable of the 3. Or number 3, all the agencies are going to stand in a circle pointing at each other, creating more confusion, more chaos, saying, oh, no, you did this. Well, no, you did that. Well, no. You offered this and you said this. And you gave us that. The finger pointing will start again, very reminiscent of 9/11, where all the agencies were pointing fingers at each other because crap happened. Now, out of all these individuals, all these heads, the 2 most guilty, Brennan from the CIA and Comey. Comey has been a long-standing Clinton shield since roughly 1996. Because Comey has been involved in investigations against the Clintons 5 times since 1996.
Now, isn't that alone worrisome? I mean, we're talking about a couple that's been has had major investigations 5 separate times in the past, 20, 25 years now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 1996, he was a deputy special counsel on Whitewater. Guess what? The Clintons walked. Because there was also destruction of evidence. But the Clintons walked. Then in the 2000s, Mark Rich, a billionaire oil trader, who, mind you, before that, during the Iran hostage situation, was trading oil with the Iranians when they had our hostages, when they had our people. So he got busted for tax fraud. Well, then all of a sudden, Bill Clinton is ready to leave office, and he pardons him after his wife made a very hefty donation for her bid to be Senator of New York. That investigation cleared. Then we go to 2004, when Comey was the Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice. During that time, Sandy Berger, who went in and destroyed possible evidence that was very damaging to the Clintons. Sandy Berger supposedly did this.
Wasn't this the guy who wasn't he the guy that accidentally shoved a couple of files in his pants on his way out the door?
Yeah. They just magically jumped into his pants. I seen the guy. Nobody wants to jump in his pants. But anyway, I forget I said that. But anyway, so Comey turned around and narrowed the scope of the investigation so that way nobody from the Clinton administration could be interrogated, questioned, or brought to charge.
Of course not.
So, exactly.
Hold that thought. We're up against the time clock. Can you stay after the break?
But of course.
All right. Hold on, folks. We're not done with this yet. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Hi, Gordon. What you been up to?
Big things, Fred. I'm a full-time student at bartending college.
Wow. I never had time for a formal education.
Well, I decided to make time, but it's not easy. Bartending college is a 4-week course.
Gee, how far along are you?
Well, let's see. This is Tuesday, the 3rd week. Hey, I'm a junior, and I'm late for a daiquiri lecture. Why don't you join me?
Why not?
Bartending college.
You've already spent enough time on the other side of the bar to qualify for enrollment.
Bartending college.
We'll teach you everything you need to know. You'll get a starter set of bartenders' jokes like...
So I says to the guy, you can stay, but the cow's gotta go. Bartending college.
You'll learn how to roll drunks, water the liquor, and skim the cash register. And remember, as the bartender, you drink for free.
Last call.
For integrity.
Gotta love a little bit of the Spanish guitar. Such feeling and emotion. Well, as typical with this particular segment of the program, we always go long in so Agent 0010 can get everything out. But of course, this time he's got too much to get out in one segment, so we will continue this right after the bottom of the break. So don't go anywhere. Grab your friends, people, if they're not tuning in already, because they really need to hear this. Seriously. Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
603-835-3226. Welcome back. As we continue on with the intel report this morning. And, Agent 0010, I gotta tell you, this stuff is, it's not surprising if you're actually paying attention. And I think, I think there's a lot of Americans who aren't really paying a whole hell of a lot of attention. They're looking at it with a side eye kind of thing in between their daily activities, and I don't think most of them are surprised either. But you're not done. What else you got?
No. Well, I left off with the entire where Sandy Berger back in 2004 when Comey was the Deputy Attorney General at the Department of Justice, and he just narrowed the scope of the investigation so that way no one from the Clinton administration or anybody who worked as a Clinton advisor, would have been dragged into the investigation, which, even though their name may have come up, oh, no, we can't, because the investigation is narrowed to this. Yeah, but here's a memo saying that Stephanopoulos told him to steal it. No, you don't understand. No. We've narrowed the investigation. Nobody from the Clinton administration can be investigated because I narrowed it. That's what happened. Then you go, the last and most infamous one, 2016, the private server and Weiner's laptop. So, and I still think that Eric Holder and Anthony Weiner should run for office as a team and be the Weiner Holder campaign. But anyway, those are the 5 times that Comey has been involved with the Clintons. Now, mind you, that goes all the way back to 1996. So, and each time, nope, the Clintons are okay. Nope, the Clintons are okay. Nope, the Clintons are okay. Maybe in your world, but the rest of us are seeing something that's right in front of us. And you can't see it because you have your back turned to it. But that's it. And so, yeah, the Comeys and the Clintons have been friends for a very, very long time.
Well, you know, it seems like the past 30 years, every time something really devious goes down in the halls of government, the Clintons are involved in it. They're neck deep in the muck. I mean, this is I don't understand how these people keep skating by.
Okay, you know, let's take a look. Bill Clinton was supposedly the last most successful president that the Democrats had, even though that the Democratic Party is trying to prop up Barack Obama, saying, oh, no, he was the most successful. He was the last Democrat president. He was extremely successful. If that's the case, then why was Bill Clinton, to this day, still being continued to be propped up? Why is Bill Clinton still the image boy, the poster child of the Democratic Party, if Barack Obama was so successful? So because of his success, they need him. They need his words. They need him to go out there and speak for them. So that way, because he's got that down-home country boy thing going on there, and you know what? You just can't beat that. And, well, they use that to their advantage. So therefore, they protect him, and they protect her. They protect the both of them. And that's how they get away with it.
I look. I understand the Southern charm of Bill Clinton. I mean, that's how seriously that's how Jimmy Carter got elected, because he came Georgia Southern boy, done good, and he had that big grin, and he was a total incompetent boob, but he was so nice. Mm-hmm. Everybody loved Carter. And Clinton was kind of the same thing, but he was better looking, he was younger, he was more brash and more of a womanizer. Oh yeah, you bring on that Southern charm and that Southern voice. Yeah, I got to tell you, there's nobody out there who was better than me. Not even that boy. Well, I can't say boy because then people call me racist. But not even that boy Barack Obama. He wasn't as good as I am. I tell you, I'm just so good. I can't help it. But
well,
I mean,
at least Obama was a better dancer.
But this has been a slow progression on a downward spiral. That this is now ensnared and this is why I say they can't let this Trump stuff go. Because this is coming to a point now where there are too many people, too many players involved, too much has been done. And if they can't foist all of this on Donald Trump, which is really an impossibility, even if the press is behind this, Donald Trump wasn't in politics. There's nothing that they can heap on him. All they have is a supposed Trump-Putin collusion crap. That's it. If they let this go, they have nothing else on Trump. And it is going to start to open. People's eyes are going to start to open. They're going to start asking the serious questions about that involve the Clintons, the Clintonistas, and all of their backers and supporters. And that's a wide net. I mean, we're talking. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're talking people that were in power and positions of power within the Clinton and Obama administrations. We're talking current people who are still there, like Maxine Waters. I mean, why is this woman carrying the water for Hillary Clinton so bad? What the hell do they possibly have on her? I mean, what was her name that just got? I can't believe I can't remember her name. She just got convicted of all 18 charges. She's going to jail, and she's like 70 years old, and she's still going to jail. I mean, these people are wide open.
I am so glad you brought up Maxine Waters. There has been a story that came out recently. Maxine Waters went to a Democratic meeting. Bunch of Democrats. I believe it was a Democrat Black Caucus meeting. And Maxine Waters, with that voice of hers, let me tell you something right now. Donald Trump is a bad person. Voice just drives me insane. Well, Maxine Waters started bashing the president. And somebody came along and shut her microphone off.
Yeah.
They turned it right off. And they couldn't get it back on again.
The woman is certifiable. I mean, Nancy Pelosi's a Valley girl, but Maxine Waters she's just certifiable.
Valley girl.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you, didn't I? Nancy Pelosi, at one time, was a calendar girl. She was Miss Oil Rack.
What?
Hand to God. Nancy Pelosi, in her younger days, in the 50s, was, I guess, a struggling model. And she got on a calendar, and it was like one of those calendars that they give away at gas stations back then in the day, back in the 50s. Uh-huh. Yeah, she was Miss Oil Rack.
Okay, I'm not sure I want to go look up those pictures, but okay.
Oh, no, she wasn't naked. She was in a bathing suit.
That doesn't matter. Just the thought of it being her. I mean,
all right, listen.
Now, we've got a lot of Democrats out there. How can I put this gingerly? All right, so we have this. What we have now is we have this concerted collusion within the Democrat Party to keep the Clintons out of trouble, and possibly in their waning days on this planet, keep them out of jail. Because everything that they've done, especially Hillary, has landed ordinary people in jail. So how wide do you think this net could be? And would it finally be, if this got out and somebody did a real investigation, would it actually be the death knell for the Democratic Party and thus the rise of the American Socialist Party?
It won't bring the rise of the American Socialist Party because the simple fact is that Democrats and socialists have been so intertwined for so long that it's even recognizable. People see many, like Bernie Sanders, perfect example. He's a socialist, but yet he's a Democrat. He's in line with the Democratic Party.
He never joined, even during the campaign, he never rejoined the Democrat Party. I find that
he never joined the Democrat Party, but yet he was getting finance from the Democrat Party to run certain, let's say, to just run his campaigns, like in his home state. He was receiving money from the Democrat Party to run those campaigns and from Democrats in his home state to run his campaign. So therefore, socialism and Democrats run hand in hand within Washington, D.C., and we see it all the time. It's just a fact. And, in fact, the Antifa is running around saying, you're a Marxist, we're liberals, blah, 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 when in all actuality, they're socialists because they want their education paid for. They want everything paid for. Their rent, their transportation. So, yeah, that's socialist thing. So, therefore, Antifa, who is being basically the ground force for the Democrats to do the dirty work and do the attacks on conservatives and Republicans, they're running hand in hand. And if anybody were to tell me otherwise, I'd say, show me, prove it. Because in all confidence, I can tell you they won't be able to. Now, if you take a look at who would this take down if the Clintons went to prison, I got some names. I'm pretty sure some certain names, such as Maxine Waters, such as Chuck Schumer, such as Nancy Pelosi, especially Pelosi. There's a whole bunch of Democrats that would probably have to resign and just go live on an island somewhere for the rest of their lives, because if they don't, they'll be brought up on charges. And I'm pretty sure there's a couple of Republicans in that list, too.
Oh, I have no doubt. That's why I call them blue-blood Republicans. They're no better than the Democrats. But I don't. Well, this is, it is a swamp that is deeper than I think even the President Donald even realized that he was trying to drain. And this is why they're fighting so hard to. It's more than just. It's their base. It's their very livelihood. It's their very lives that are on the line right now. And this is why these people are just getting so completely nuts. And so, where do you think, from your learned perspective, is because now we had a Chaffetz. What is the deal with Chaffetz postponing the testimony of Comey now? I mean, what? Evidently, they had a private conversation, and I don't. Okay, so now that's off for now.
Okay, it's postponed but not canceled, which tells me that it tells me one of a couple of things. First of all, Comey said, if I don't get some kind of immunity, I'm going to plead the fifth over and over and over again. That could be possibility number one. Possibility number two, Comey turns around and says, well, what I have is classified, but it doesn't have to deal with the president. It has to deal with certain politicians because they're the ones that are creating something or something. They're behind something. And one or two of them might have been Republicans. Notice Chaffetz is a Republican. So he might be getting his ducks in a row, conducting a deeper investigation to find out what the hell is going on. There's a couple of scenarios. Now, don't forget, I did give you the names of certain Republicans that are involved. Well, not Republicans, but politicians that were involved in that entire Steele dossier, that fraud of a report that was created by the former MI6 agent. Yeah. And, McCain's name was on that list that I gave you. So God knows who else might be involved in fraud, creating a fraudulent scheme against the president. So God knows.
Every time you deliver a report, I'm not surprised, but there is a little bit of shock there. And today there's even something new that I haven't really felt before from your reports. A little bit of fear. I'm a little bit scared and worried about how this is all going to shake down, because these people are going to they have to be relentless against Trump. And all I can say is that we all know what happens when Democrats want to make something happen. Even when there was no crime committed, they will find a crime somewhere or cause somebody to commit a crime. Just look at Scooter Libby, for crying out loud. And so that it just kind of worries me a little bit with that. So
I'm sorry, but anybody that allows himself to be called Scooter needs to get punched in the head.
It's probably a childhood nickname that stuck with him into adulthood. I I'm sure most of us who've ever had childhood nicknames, especially given to us by our relatives or our parents, are glad that they did not stick. But some of us, unfortunately, some of them do.
Oh, my God. Such a damn pretentious name. Hello, my name is Scooter Levy. Pat, right in the head. Change your name.
Well, again, thank you so much, Agent 0010. Riveting and very informative report as usual. Stay safe out there, my friend.
Thank you so much, and everyone have a great day. Bye.
We'll be back, folks.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Warning. Listening to the Rod Eccles Show by the Idiot Left may cause outrage, fear, a need for safety pins and or spaces. If you experience any of these symptoms or are allergic to truth, tune in and learn something.
One thing I don't want people to take away from that, when I said that for the first time on the air, I felt something I haven't felt before, this little bit of fear. It's healthy to pay attention to. I never said ignore feelings. I know I'm a logical person, but sometimes logic dictates a feeling. And this particular, listening to this, the report, the intel report, the logical thing to feel after that is a little bit of fear, not only for the president, but for our nation. I mean, look, we've got folks, we've got to gird our loins here. We've got attacks coming from all over the place, from everywhere, just about every corner of the globe, and from just about every corner of this country. And if you do not think that these people are attacking the very foundation, the very fabric of our way of life and our nation and our government, you better wake up out of your rose-colored dream here. This is not Alice in Wonderland. This is not Alice through the looking glass. This is real stuff. And people have got to stop being distracted by the stuff that doesn't matter. You can go to the movies on the weekend, great. But we've got to stop this notion that, well, if we just bury our heads and we just keep ourselves entertained, all this other stuff is not really happening. Because, frankly, folks, this is how tyranny starts. People ignore it. People ignore it. And this is how nations fall from within, because the citizenry, the people, ignore the corruption. And they don't demand the truth. They don't demand the facts. And this has been true throughout history. You cannot show me a great nation or empire, if you will, even though the United States is not an empire. You can't show me an empire throughout history that wasn't first weakened and or destroyed from within before they were conquered from without. That's how it all starts. That's how it all, whenever you have a solid foundation, even if it's just based on one person, whenever you have a solid foundation and you weaken that foundation, you chisel it away. Doesn't matter who that one person is or who the people are, what documents or laws that they have on the books, they will always crumble the rest of the building down. That's the way it's always happened. And that's the way it's going to continue to happen. And, Trump is shoring up our foundation, but we got people with jackhammers that are trying to chisel at him and chisel at the foundations that he's shoring up. And if we don't stop them, nobody else is.
The following program is recommended for mature individuals and may contain material unsuitable for morons, cretins, and dishwipes. If you are a moron or a member of the PTL Club, please turn off your radio, because we don't need any more stupid, narrow-minded, pencil-neck geeks who wouldn't know the First Amendment if it came up and bit them on the butt. Thank you.
When I found out I had atrial fibrillation, a serious but highly treatable heart condition, the first thing I thought of was who would take care of my wife and children if anything were to happen to me. My doctor recommended Provactin. I had a lot of questions, so I did some research. It turns out Provactin is the #1 recommended drug for Crohn's disease. I think my doctor's trying to kill me and steal my wife.
Doctors. They'll stop at nothing to get your wife.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Now, live from the bunkerized studio located somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, is Rod Eccles.
Yes, indeed, and we are back for hour number 3. Yes, indeed, the fastest 3 hours in Internet Talk Radio is right here on the Rod Eccles Show. Welcome back this Wednesday, Hump Day morning, May number 24 in the year of our Lord 2017. Call-in number 603-835-3226. Glad that you are here. Now, before we jump back into the real serious stuff, let me just say that I saw something, a preview, yesterday. I didn't, and I only came across this because I was doing pre-show prep late into the night last night. Yeah, I was watching things like ABC and NBC, and I was watching Nightline and a few other things that I don't normally watch, but I had to see what these yahoos were going to say and talk about as it pertained to the terrorist attack in Manchester, England. And there was a trailer for a new movie that's opening late next month. Now, at first, it was a commercial, so at first I didn't pay that much attention to it. But then I saw the trailer again and realized that it was a real trailer. Did you know that there is an Emoji movie coming out? I did not know it. And Captain Picard, yes, Patrick Stewart is the voice of Talking Pooh. Now, I might just go to this movie just to hear Patrick Stewart be Pooh. I don't know what all emojis are going to be there. The emoji world has expanded so much. I remember when it was just like, what was it, 5 or 6 basic emojis, and now it's like a plethora of. There's an unlimited number of these things out there. I'm glad that they actually have the pictures of the emojis that you can click on, because the codes, there was no way I was going to remember all these codes for the short codes for emojis without the pictures. But yeah, folks, and as a matter of fact, what it says here is that it opens July. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Not June, but July. It opens in theaters in wide release July 28. Yeah, and it is. It's an animated feature. It looks like it's a computer-generated animated feature. I don't know if you should take your kids to it or not, but just so you know, Captain Picard is going to be the Talking Pooh emoji. I can only imagine what he would say. He's got a very unique voice. You know, there are some actors that have unique voice. You know who they are when you hear them. And then there are some that you got to think about. I know you're not sure if it's them or not, but I think Patrick Stewart has got one of those voices that you definitely know it's him every time you hear it. So that may be a little bit difficult to get past, because he's also Professor X. So Captain Picard, Professor X being Pooh, that might be funny to actually hear that. Any case, here, this is from Reuters, and this is something all of you liberal, pro-LGBT people, XYPDQ, whatever, better listen up. Because all the advances that you think you've made all over the globe are about to be undone. And it is happening now with the spread of Islam. You people are just so stupid for supporting them. I mean, you're one of the first people they want to get rid of. I mean, it is so unbelievable that remember when Ahmadinejad was from the former Iranian president was here, and he went to, was it New York College, New York City College, one of the colleges, and he gave a speech, and there was like a question and answer period after his talk, and he was referring to how bad America was when it comes to homosexuality. And he was also saying, well, we don't have that problem. We don't have these people in Iran. And some in the audience, because they were naive and ignorant, they laughed at him. Now, of course, we know that there are some gays living in fear in Iran, but the then president of Iran looked at them and said, and with a serious face, "Do you know who they are? Do you think we have them? Where are? Tell me who they are." Now, he was doing that for two reasons. One, he was saying that we don't allow that kind of, supposed debauchery in our culture, in our country. And he was telling them that when they do find it, they take care of it. And we know this to be true because we have seen video coming out of Iran of them supposedly catching and allegedly punishing homosexuals and sodomites by hanging them. Now, we also know that in places like current Libya and other places where ISIS and Al-Qaeda have strongholds, we know that they take alleged homosexuals, especially gay men, to the rooftops of some of the tallest buildings within that community, and they throw them off the roof. And if they don't have a building that they can throw them off, they decapitate them. Now, let's go across a little ways across the globe from the Middle East over to Indonesia. Now, I brought you a story yesterday about how the small gay community in Indonesia is now starting to quiver in fear. Because except for one county, basically, in Indonesia, homosexuality is legal. That's about to change, people. A new task force from Reuters reporting, new police task force to target Indonesian gays. Straight out of Indonesia, folks. What is Indonesia? In Indonesia, they say it is a majority Muslim country. No, there's no such thing. It's a Muslim country. Not majority, it's Muslim. If you are anything but Muslim, you practice your religion in secret, in private, in quiet. Because otherwise they will seek you out. Just like all the Coptic Christians in the Middle East that are being summarily executed for their beliefs. Indonesia is not in the Middle East. And let me tell you what, a picture says 1,000 words. They have pictures coming out of Indonesia of these new task force police officers. What they think of gays. They think homosexuality is a disease because these cops are wearing surgical masks, going into places that are typically known to be gathering spots for homosexuals. They're wearing masks. What does that picture tell you? Now, you folks on the left, you had better wake up to what's actually going on in the world. You are so trapped in your own little selfish thoughts because you think you're so special and deserve everything when you haven't given anything to society. You've given nothing. And yet you demand everything. Reminds me of a line in the movie 300 when King Leonidas says, "Give them nothing, take from them everything." I think maybe some of you liberal snowflakes have taken that to heart and think that that's maybe what you should be demanding. We'll give you nothing, but we'll take from you everything. And there are places on this planet, not small places, and their reach is expanding. Now, you think the world is so pro-gay. You got another thing. Africa. Most countries in Africa do not put up with homosexuals. Most places in Asia do not put up with homosexuals. And they're not Muslim-based countries. Now you have Muslim-based countries that are starting to come back and tell you publicly they're not going to put up with it, and yet these are the same people that you are trying to protect and support and bring into the United States. You bring enough Muslims into this country, all of the rights that you think that you have gained will be erased overnight. I guarantee you. Don't doubt me. Let's go to the phones. We have 731 live on the Rod Eccles Show. What you got?
Good morning. I was listening to Agent and got a phone call but I had a couple of things. I had a couple of questions. I just wanted to know who's protecting the American people, and why does Trump scare the daylights out of the majority of the politicians? And I'm including John McCain, Ben Sasse, and so forth. Why? Everybody should ask themselves that. Do they just want a war? Well, it seems like. And why do they want a war?
Well,
is it because they spend a gazillion dollars of our money and we don't know where it is? I don't know. But are they blackmailing all the politicians?
Well, that's.
I mean, are they compromised? Is that the reason? Do we just say, okay, time out here? Do we just say, come on, we're going to take everything you've done wrong, we're going to squish it. Now let's get to the truth. Kind of like what Agent was saying. Because, guys, if we don't do, I mean, we're at a point where, honestly, when it comes down, this Seth Rich story, I mean, I didn't know, I'm not a Democrat, believe it or not. I wouldn't vote for a Democrat for nothing. But you know what? This is a big deal. If they can do this to this guy, if that's supposedly what is going on, and I mean, let's think about it. Look at the police. Okay, I went to D.C. to march against Obamacare, okay? And everywhere you would go, there were cameras. So I cannot imagine that they don't know what happened. But there again, you probably have compromised people working there. And so where does that, what are they going to do? Compromise, everybody. That Brennan was a joke yesterday. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so,
well,
this is, go ahead.
Let me just say that, first of all, what we have going on here is we have a bunch of people that are now really running scared because Trump is the most dangerous man in Washington, D.C. right now. He's by far the most dangerous man that they have ever come across. He doesn't have any political connections. He's not a politician. Has never had any. They have nothing on him. Because he's never had political office before, they've got nothing.
He didn't use a computer.
Well, yeah. But, when people see their livelihood being threatened, and let's face it, there are a few people, a few places on this planet where people can go in as a regular, ordinary citizen, and get elected, if you will, and come out millionaires. I mean, I just saw something the other day that put Comey's net worth at over $11 million. Now, I don't know how.
How is that?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that happens. I mean, Obama's worth well over $10 million since becoming president. I don't know how you do that on a $400,000 a year salary. Well,
they need to go to work for the banks and tell us how to make our money turn like that.
They would probably be very good financial. Well, I can see their financial advice. Here's their financial advice. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Get elected.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just like that Antifa bunch, who's paying them? I want to see who's paying them, because I know those people are not just going out for the goodness of their communist souls. They don't do that. Nobody does anything for free. Think about that.
No. There's something now that literally it's a new profession. It's called we call them professional agitators, but professional protester, and some of them make as much as $50,000 a year. That has been proven.
Well, I call them terrorists. Is that okay?
Yeah, they're using terrorist tactics, so yes, you could call them terrorists, and you would be accurate in describing them as such.
Well, you know what? And one quick thing, I know you probably have to get to break, but postponing that congressional, meeting, what the circus they do. You know what? A politician, if you work for us, we're paying our taxes, and we're abiding by the law. There shouldn't be allowed to plead the Fifth. Now, I'm sorry. I don't know what the Fifth Amendment...
Everybody has that constitutional right to keep from incriminating themselves, but that should tell you a lot about some of these people.
They're all doing it.
Well, yeah, and some of them are doing it to protect themselves from being railroaded into something they didn't do, and some of them are protecting themselves from keeping what they actually did do, which was illegal, from coming out. So there's two sides of the coin to that.
Trying to keep from being theft-rich.
that too. They're probably trying to protect their own lives. Wouldn't doubt it. All right. Thank you so much for your call. We got to run for the break, though.
Okay. See ya.
Bye-bye. Oh, she's got a point there, folks. She had a point. Can't deny it. I mean, there are a lot of people that don't want to end. Well, there's the whole. Somebody keeps posting a list of people that have mysteriously passed away earlier than they should have. That have ties to the Clintons. I don't know. It's hard to believe that all of those people. I think the list has grown to over 100 now. Really. All of those people, they just had bad luck?
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement,
But now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
The comical commercial about California rectal hot tub gonorrhea thing, it mentions something, that you'd get into, that having that could interfere with your enjoyment with family, friends, and dog, which reminded me of a program I watched last night. I was sitting there trying to just take a break from all the stuff that I was being inundated, so I sat down in front of the TV with a glass of wine and watch the new program Downward Dog. And I thought it could have potential. The only problem is I will never watch it again. I'm one episode in, one episode out. It's simply because I could not stand. It's a talking dog. Okay, that's what led me to watch it in the first place, to see how they do this with a talking dog. Because it sounded cute in the preview, so I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. But the talking dog is the voice of a male snowflake. The speech pattern and everything, I could not take it anymore. It was like listening to Mark Zuckerberg on snowflake steroids. You know the type of speech pattern I'm talking about. That was enough. And the funny thing is, nobody else in the program seemed to have that speech pattern. It's just the dog. Just the voice of the dog. And that was enough for me to say, nope, not gonna. I don't think it's gonna do well, simply because they got the wrong voice for the dog, to tell you the truth. And also speaking of California's in trouble. I guess they may be reaching their hand or holding their hands out again pretty soon because of a massive landslide on the Big Sur Highway, Highway number 1. And evidently the estimates are that the damage that has been done, they don't know how long the highway, that section of the highway, is going to be closed. But evidently somebody's already tallied up the cost of repairing it. And they're saying it is, for that small section that was affected by the landslide, it is going to cost $1 billion to repair. California doesn't have the money. So, yeah, they're going to be holding out their hand, looking for Trump to bail them out yet again. Dig them out, I should say.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please, call or go online right now.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came, defeat the would-be dictators, and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Bring the rain.
Now, I don't know why it's going to cost them $1 billion to clear the highway and repair it, but it probably has something to do with trying to shore up the hillside that collapsed. And I don't. Well, it's California, folks. I mean, just thank God nobody was on the. I don't know if they know if anybody was on the highway when it collapsed. they're going to have to go digging through it, I guess. But I hope nobody was trapped in that landslide. But yeah, hey, Mother Nature did it, and it has nothing to do with rain, I guess. It's just the hillsides over in that section of Big Sur. I guess there's underground springs that keep the ground pretty well moistened and saturated, and if you get a little bit of rain, I guess that can always happen. And it did. But I am sure that somehow Donald Trump is going to get blamed for it because of global climate change type of thing. I'm sure they're going to blame Trump and his policies towards it. By the way, the Pope, the Catholic Pope gave Trump a book on climate. I'm presuming people are presuming that it was a biblical book describing God's command on taking care of the planet, but it has nothing to do with global climate change. As far as God did not say that we're causing climate change, but that's pretty interesting. And yeah, I know there are Catholics out there. I'm not a Catholic, and I just don't know why Catholics who consider themselves to be Christian would bow down to another man who is elected by other men. I never did understand that. That frankly, the Holy Roman Catholic Church is not biblical, folks. I know I can get in trouble for saying that, but it's not. There is a bunch of stuff on Catholicism and historical Catholicism, and do you know what the word Catholic or Catholicism really means? It means universal, the Holy Roman Universal Church. And there's a reason how it got started and why it got started by Constantine, and how he was able to convert the Romans into quote unquote Christians. And it was via the Holy Roman Universal Church. So this is not a church that was founded by Christ. This was a church that was founded by Constantine. Just historically speaking, that's accurate. I know people are going to be mad at me for saying that. No, it's not. No, it's not. Well, yeah, that's historically accurate. Sometimes I think it's kind of funny because I have friends who are Catholic, and some of them will tell me, and I remember this one sweet woman. She was older, in her 40s, late 40s. We used to discuss at work. We used to during breaks discuss biblical principles and stuff, and how to use them at work, and how to be a witness for God on a daily basis. And one day she looked at me. She goes, I enjoy these talks. I just want you to know that I really believe in Jesus Christ. I am a true Christian, even though I'm Catholic. That was her words. So I don't know. At the time I didn't really understand fully what she was talking about. But as I delved into, this was a while ago, as I delved into learning historical Christian history, it took me into studying Christian history. It took me into the beginnings of the Catholic Church, and then I understood why she said what she said for those reasons. Anyway, but yeah, so the president had a meeting with the Exalted One, the Pope, and of course liberals are loving the pictures that are coming out of there. So, the Pope looks stone-faced, and of course they're putting the caption, "See, even the Pope can't stand Trump." And I'm like, no, that's the way Pope Francis. That's his resting face. That's the way he always looks. He does. He always looks like it, when he's not emoting purposefully, like smiling or something. He always looks like he's disgusted. So if he's standing around people, that his resting face looks like he's disgusted with everybody. I mean, that's just his resting face. Nothing wrong with it, but that's just the way he looks. And look, there are plenty of pictures of him being in his resting face sort of state that show the same thing, and he's not even with anybody in the picture. So what is that? Is he disgusted with the photographer? I don't know. Any case, so it's, yeah. Okay, back to what we have here. There's a lot of stuff still on my plate. NATO is obviously rolling out the red carpet for Trump because, hey, they want to get on this guy's good side. They do. They want to get on this guy's good side. And really simply because of what he's been doing with NATO and saying to NATO, you guys got to pull your own weight now. They don't want Trump to get into this anti-NATO mode. And trust me, Trump is not anti-NATO. He's for fair. You lefties always talk about how we're always doing this all over the world. And we're always paying for everybody, and we need to stop paying for everybody. And Trump goes out and does it, and tries to get people, these NATO members, to pull their own weight and spend what they're supposed to be spending according to the treaty, the NATO treaty. And you get mad at them for that. It's just amazing. It's amazing, amazing. I have these stories here on Sean Hannity. Now, it seems people are saying that Sean Hannity is backing off the Seth Rich conspiracy theory. And no, he's not. But you have to understand, because Sean Hannity does work for Fox, and on the air, he recognizes the fact that the network is trying to distance itself from conspiracy theorists about Seth Rich. Now, keep in mind now, most of us don't have a whole hell of a lot of details about Seth's Rich murder. Now, one of the things that Sean Hannity is, and I heard this on a show yesterday, and if you actually pay attention to the lamestream media, including Fox, they don't want to call this a murder. And I find it very interesting because they keep saying, well, it was a robbery. Yeah, that makes it murder. But the point is that they're trying to protect the establishment in this case, that if we say it's murder, that means that we're automatically going off into some conspiracy theory. And that is not what Hannity was talking about. Hannity was talking about gathering information. He was talking about talking to all the players involved in this. Who could be involved? Why did it happen? It doesn't make sense that you're calling it a robbery when nothing was stolen, either on him or in his apartment. And Sean Hannity is asking the pertinent questions. He's asking the real questions. Now, here's the point. Hannity has been speaking with and has interviewed plenty of people who are involved in this indirectly and directly, like Julian Assange, like Kim.com, and other players. And the information, and Seth's Rich family. The information that he is getting back is leading him to formulate this so-called quote-unquote theory that there are other more nefarious people involved in this young man's death, in his murder. And Hannity is not backing off calling it murder, because whether or not it's a conspiracy that was against him and somebody in the Democratic Party was responsible for the hit, or if it was a robbery gone bad and the robber just got scared after he shot him and took off and didn't steal anything, it's still murder. And he's not playing the game of, well, we're just saying it was a robbery. Well, it's still murder. Now, understand that Hannity he's the last. I mean, I know we got Tucker Carlson, but you got to understand that Hannity is the last bastion of the old Fox network. He's it. And the liberals are coming after him. Now, unlike some of the others who the liberals think they got, they were old men. I mean, Bill O'Reilly, 68, 69. Ailes was in his 70s. And other people are also towards the end of their career. So Hannity's not. He's only in his, he's mid-50s. He's still a young guy. He's not going anywhere. But Hannity is smart enough to understand. So this is why people think he's backing off. Hannity's smart enough to know how to manipulate the left. He doesn't have to discuss it every single day in order for him to stay on it. And so what he has said is, on his program last night, is that he's going to stop basically discussing the issue of Seth Rich on his television program for now. He made that very clear. Knowing Sean Hannity, that means that he's getting some information that he's trying to put he's doing investigative journalism that the real journalists are not doing. And he is trying his damnedest with all his limited resources to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. Saying that he's backing off is wrong. He's made it very clear that he's going to continue his own investigation into this. But when you do an investigation, when you get to a certain point, you realize you got to stop talking about it. Or else you're not going to get the other information that you need to put the rest of the pieces in the puzzle together. So some people might think that Hannity is capitulating with Fox. No. From everything that I've heard Hannity talk about thus far about the Rich case, Hannity's getting close to something. And now is the time to go silent about it until you get the rest of the pieces. I believe that is what is going on. So people that think that Sean is capitulating, as he always says, let not your heart be troubled. Because he's not letting it go. He's not letting it go. I don't believe he is. I've heard him I've heard him hold his tongue too many times on this and on other things. Because he can't reveal everything that he's got now until he can corroborate and get additional information. And there have been times when he's almost let the cat out of the bag. So I think also by him not talking about it, he's not putting himself in a corner. And again, that has nothing to do with whether or not Fox is trying to put the screws to him or not. Because frankly, as I said, Fox can fire Hannity tomorrow. Hannity's not going anywhere. Now, it could also be that Hannity is also preparing to pull a Mark Levin. Levin just started his own network, Levin TV. Now, Levin and Hannity are good friends. And I am sure that he is getting a lot of advice, good, solid advice, from Levin. So, whether or not he sticks with Fox, Hannity's not going anywhere. And I think if the left were smart, if the left was really smart, like they claim that they are, they would want to keep Hannity somewhat hamstrung by keeping him on Fox. Because if Fox lets him go, if he breaks loose from Fox, he has no constraints. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me put it in perspective, and I'm not trying to puff myself up. But let me put it this way. If Hannity gets cut loose from Fox, with all his current money, with all his current fan base, with his current reach, with all his current contacts, Hannity becomes me on ultra steroids. Beholden to nobody, anywhere, at any time. Do you think the left really wants that? Nope.
What if I told you that you could lose weight simply by drinking coffee? Change your coffee, change your life. Our gourmet estate-grown coffee is infused with powerful herbs that help you melt fat and keep you from feeling hungry for 6+ hours. Get results or your money back. Order yours today at skinnycoffeeshop.com. That's skinnycoffeeshop.com. Tea and water also available. skinnycoffeeshop.com.
Have a legal problem and need some serious legal advice? then you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Any facts we say here are probably wrong. And any analysis of the law should not be followed.
There you go. Reasonable men are here to take a twisted look at the law.
Stack your hayride.
Learn in hand. Best name in law school.
Check us out on iTunes, reasonablemen.com, or on your favorite podcast app.
Reasonable men are back.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Now, let me make sure that I am perfectly clear on this. I do not ascribe to any conspiracy theories, but I will tell you that it was out-and-out plain murder of Seth Rich. And I do not believe, based on the evidence that has been released and I have gathered so far, I don't come to the conclusion that it was a robbery. I believe that it was a hit. I believe Seth Rich knew his attacker, or knew who his attacker was, and I believe that he was trying to run away from him, which is why he was shot in the back. Now, if you want to call that conspiracy, go right ahead. But look, I look at it logically. I look at the evidence that has already been released and provided, and the evidence that I've been able to gather from other sources, and that is, so far, that is a logical conclusion. The other question is, where is all his personal effects that are important, like his laptops? This is an IT guy, people. Where are his computers? Who's got them? And why haven't they been surveyed and surveilled and had forensics done on them? Where is that information? Why do we have a guy who's already up to his neck in trouble like Kim.com, who's willing to come to the United States, well, at least so he says right now, to testify? There's a lot more here, and it's not a robbery. It's not. But, again, I don't have enough information to come up with something that is even, that's more, without sounding conspiratorial, and that is not me. So I will put off really discussing this matter any further until we get some more information. And I'm looking to Hannity to lead that search. Finally today, we have this out of from Yahoo News, out of Boston, actually. It seems that places, well, starting in places like Boston University and Harvard University, of all places, that conservative students are coming out of the woodwork now. They're not being silent anymore. They're starting, because of Donald Trump being elected and because of what has been happening out in Berkeley, that conservatives across college campi, across this great land of ours, are starting to feel their oats, and they're not taking liberal idiocy sitting down anymore. They're standing up for themselves, and they're starting to talk more freely about their conservative beliefs, much to the chagrin of their fellow liberal snowflake counterparts. And one of the reasons is there's a young man out there by the, what is his name? Had it right here really quick. Where did I put his name? Nick Fuentes out of Boston University. He's leading the charge at Boston University, basically. And he's saying, I voted for Trump. And basically the reason is because these people out there on the left, my fellow students, leftists, they've just gone completely hysterical. Now, here's a guy with his head screwed on right. Double entendre there. On purpose. Intended. So you've got students who have their heads screwed on right, who are now losing their fear of talking about certain things on campus that are of a conservative nature or a conservative bent. I'm thinking what you're going to see is people like Milo and Ann Coulter being able to, and other people like them, being able to get to speak on college campuses after the Berkeley debacles. Stay tuned for that one, folks. We have yet to see how quickly that happens. In the meantime, unfortunately, we're out of time for today, but we will return in 21 hours. We'll be back here tomorrow for Thursday's edition. You don't want to miss it. Gonna be another big league. Till then, have a wonderful hump day. I'm Rod Eccles. Thanks for tuning in. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Left dogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled. And you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat apple file? A Clinton plays a victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.